What is the vision for the Vendors Arcade? To provide a world-class shopping environment where local goods and services can be provided and experienced by locals and visitors. Why is this redevelopment necessary? The renovations and expansions will revitalize the infrastructure and enhance the shopping experience for vendors, locals, and visitors. Who will be responsible for the Vendors Arcade? The arcade will continue to be operated and managed by the Castries Constituency Council, who will have full responsibility for the rental and maintenance of the space. How will construction of the Vendors Arcade be managed? A phased approach will be employed to minimize disruption to daily operations. After the completion of each phase, vendors will be relocated from the former arcade, and this will continue until completion of the new facility. St. Lucia Cruise Port, investing in people.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay By Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The voice. Your hero is back.
July 2025. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside our technical operator, Alton Jaquan Joseph. Sorry to inform you that Terry Fenelon, who had said see you tomorrow, won't be with us today. Terry isn't feeling well, and I want to talk about that, not Terry, but in general, in addition to his vehicle not feeling well. So, he's not feeling well, and, well, you know what I mean, his vehicle giving him some problems. When you're not feeling well and you really should rest, but then instead, you have to be dealing whether with the brakes or the starter or you know how it goes with vehicles when they become touchy and temperamental more than we, the human beings, can be. But anyway, my best wishes to Terry Fenelon. Hope he improves and feels better very soon, and that he can be with us not too long from now, okay? But talking about the not feeling well and so on, it's just the other day that Terry, myself, and another co-worker here at MBC, we're talking about, that these days it's not just we ourselves, but a lot of people, when we talk to them, are complaining about an overwhelming sense of tiredness. They're feeling exhausted, and I felt it, not today. Today is but it's just some days you cannot relate the sense of fatigue and being worn out, and like you wake up in the morning and you feel you could have slept some more, you need some more sleep and so on, but you gotta keep going. What accounts for it, And you just feel so tired. Other days like today, I'm just feeling all energized and okay, and I don't know why. And then we kind of compared notes, and like I said, it wasn't just the three of us. There are people that I talk to when you meet them, people overseas, people in Canada, in the United States, other places that, and they tell you about it just feeling absolutely pooped out sometimes, and they just do not know why. Their labor, their work, whatever, is not any more than they have been doing. Another thing that people are mentioning a lot is pains. They're having some pains, and I've had some weird pains. It's not to say you have a headache and it's your head hurting you. It's like you feel a little pain somewhere. Thankfully, I've never felt them in the center of my chest, because everything I've read about a heart attack and so on talks about a squeezing, pressing, crushing pain in the center of your stomach, radiating to your shoulder and to your, to your jaw and to your back. So, if ever I feel this one, I'm probably going to panic a little, but you feel a pain there. Next thing, whether you rub it or you leave it alone, you feel it lower down on your left side, then it goes over to another side, and, another time the pain is down, in your shin or somewhere like that. Unlike many people who I talk to, I don't describe it to gas. Some people say it's a gas they have, and the gas goes to their neck, and the gas, I keep saying, if gas, as I understand gas to be, the buildup of gas in the bowel and this kind of stomach and so on, related to digestion and fermentation. If gas could escape to the places that people are telling me to me, you should be dead a long time. So I don't know if the pressure is, irritating some nerve that is connected to someone. But these phantom pains that are there, and then they're gone, and then you feel a pain there, and you don't feel it there. Next time you feel a pain, and sometimes it's sharp, other times it's dull and lasting, other times it's squeezing and it's gone. I don't know, maybe you want to share with me what your experiences are. But we wondered whether that and some other symptoms of stuffiness and feeling that your sinuses are clogged or something, whether it has to do with a lot of dust in the air, the whole Sahara dust situation and so on. So maybe, come on. Talk shows are supposed to be like that. We're supposed to have some chat with each other. We're supposed to talk to each other like we're having a little chat over a table. And, let me know if you're experiencing some weird symptoms. Sometimes it happens. I drag myself because I say you don't do what you're supposed to do. And then later on you feel embarrassed because an hour, 2 hours pass and you feel wonderful and so on. But for today, I'm just feeling great. I got to tell you that, It's bright and sunny outside, but not all that hot. The Senate is on. I was watching Senate and toggling between the Senate and our lunchtime news. I know the Senate always affects us because intelligent people are who follow the real issues. And these intelligent people, things like Parliament, they don't let that pass. They're watching it and so on. So let us see how it goes. All right, now, where do I start? I'm going to, after the first commercial break, I'll open the phone lines because I wasn't happy with the speed with which we had to wrap up the program yesterday. But like I've told you, the lotto is different from just about all other ads. Every other ad, it's in our system. It's saved somewhere that Jaquan can retrieve it and play it on his, on the scheduled time, on the log, as we say. But the lotto comes in live. In other words, it's a broadcast from the lotto people, and it comes in at 2 o'clock, sometimes just a little earlier, sometimes just a little later, sometimes on the dot. So once we see it flash there, we have to break and to take it. I'm sure you understand that by now. People, what happened last week, Saturday, at St. Jude Hospital? It's beginning to confuse me a little. Because to me, the St. Lucia Labour Party is the governing party. And would the SLP put out a statement or rush to put out a statement condemning Alan Shastney at the time we took that SLP press release at face value for what it was worth, what it said that Alan Shastney had encroached, had barged onto the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction site without permission, without authorization, whatever. And I could not for the life of me, and I still don't, suspect, believe, be persuaded that the SLP, whose common thread is that the Prime Minister, the head of government of St. Lucia, is also the political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. The chairman of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Honorable Moses Jabatis, is also the minister responsible for hospitals in the country. He's the Minister of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs. And we can look at the linkages between the government and the party in terms of the people who are involved. Let us read again what the SLP press release said. And I'll juxtapose that against some other more recent statements. And you can understand people like myself, talk show host, especially a talk show host who, for as long as you have known him, has been associated with and has never been afraid or ashamed, timid, bashful, whatever about identifying himself as a committed, resolute, inveterate supporter of the Labour Party. You know, you tell yourself, how far out should you stick your neck? Because, you know, rather than having that kind of reinforcement and your spine strengthened, you may have cause for pause. It doesn't mean you relent tobacco, but let's revisit by rereading that SLP for immediate release statement, and which is headed Unauthorized Visit to St. Jude Hospital by Alan Chasney, a reckless stunt to undermine progress by a desperate politician. The St. Lucia Labour Party SLP strongly condemns the unauthorized visit made by United Workers' Party UWP leader Alan Chasney to the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction site today, Saturday, 5th July 2025. Mr. Chasney, without any formal clearance or coordination with the relevant authorities, entered a secure construction zone in a blatant disregard for safety protocols, institutional processes, and basic professional conduct. This reckless stunt is characteristic of Mr. Chasney's continued campaign of misinformation and political grandstanding. As has become his pattern, we fully expect that he will now go on record peddling his usual lies and distortions about the state of the St. Jude Hospital project, the very same project his government left in disarray after years of mismanagement, wasted public funds, and stalled the construction. Let the public not be fooled. Mr. Chasney's sudden interest in the hospital's progress is not born out of concern for the health and well-being of St. Lucians, but out of desperation for political relevance. It was under his leadership that the hospital became a national embarrassment, a shell of cladding with no plan, no completion timeline, and no proper accountability for the hundreds of millions spent. The St. Lucia Labour Party is confident that its administration will complete the St. Jude Hospital and deliver to the people of the South a fully functional modern healthcare facility that meets international standards. Since assuming office in 2021, the Labour administration has taken deliberate and responsible action to restart, restructure, and advance the project. Today, construction is progressing steadily and transparently under the guidance of competent professionals. We reassure the people of St. Lucia that despite the political games being played by Mr. Chasney and his allies, this government will not be deterred from doing what is right. The health and dignity of our citizens remain our top priority. Let it be known, the St. Jude Hospital will be completed, not with fanfare and falsehoods, but with hard work, honesty, and accountability. Sounds good. Sounds good. And I think myself and others, when we got that press release on Saturday, we were all fired up. I mean, everybody went into, what I might say, into combat mode to give it to Chasney, you know, for coming to mess around with the St. Jude Hospital project and going there. People pointed out that he had no PPE on him, which is personal protective equipment, that he went inside there, that he badged his way on there and so on. And the question was being asked, who gave Chasney permission? Now, Albert Fregis, a former senior superintendent of police, a former police press officer, host of police program, Police Vibes, I think, at one time. Albert Fregis, a lawyer, a former senior diplomat of St. Lucia at the High Commission in London. All right, I think he was minister counselor, was the position that he had. I believe he was second only at the time to the High Commissioner. Don't quote me on that one, Mr. Ernest Hillay. Albert Fregis, who we have been seeing for more than a year now, has been the co-host with Richard Frederick of the MBC program, Can I Help You? They were policemen in the force together. They are lawyers and so on. I'm saying all of that. I have known Albert Fregis all my life. He's a few years older than me. I've known him since I opened my eyes. And one thing I know about Albert Fregis is that he hates to be wrong. He hates to be refuted. He hates to be démented, as we say in our Creole. And Albert Fregis will not easily or lightly go and make any statement without checking to make sure that somebody cannot come later and say, that's not true. You ain't talking the truth. And Albert Fregis, in his... let me see if I can get that. Let me make sure I get that, On his Facebook page today, which is titled Permission to Enter. I'm trying to see if I can get that. Let me see if I can. Albert Fregis. Permission to Enter is what it is headed. Yes, permission to enter, sir. And 10 hours ago, he posted, Shasness said that permission was given and that seems to absolve him, legitimize him, even for his foray onto the St. Jude's reconstruction site. Here's how it has been explained to me. Shasness just went there on a Saturday with permission from nobody. It can well be imagined that he would not have gone there without permission if he did not fully intend to bully and or con his way in. I'm told that he was on the compound when one of the employees on site made a call to Reno to inform him of the development. Reno told the man to allow him to tour the facility. And Fredis ends by saying, unpack as you wish. Of course, there are people who are commenting and some are giving him flack and others who are supportive of what Albert Fredis has said. But if it is the case, where the contractor, Mr. Reno Gajada, of Reno's Construction, RG, the group of companies that have to do with construction and so on, has a great track record both here and elsewhere, in the OECS at least, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and so on. If he gave him permission, even if he was on the site that he came, he entered the site, but was said, allow him to tour the facility, then what does that do to the SLP's press release? I don't know. That's where I'm finding a little bit of confusion there. Because I think Miguel sent me a message yesterday and he also posted it in the Real Issues group that until the project is completed and the contractor hands back over to the government, whatever, the construction site, whatever, pretty much belongs to the contractor, is controlled by the contractor. I don't really know how it works. I'm just saying that what does it do to the SLP that put out that kind of release if a different story is being given about permission was given to tour the facility by the contractor? Is somebody there being thrown under the bus? Is somebody else there being subjected to embarrassment? I don't know. But the other thing which kind of astonished me was the Prime Minister at yesterday's pre-cabinet briefing. When he was asked about it, basically he just seemed to just wave this away. That's not a big deal. That's a distraction. That's something that they're trying to do to divert my attention from where it should be on the business of the country, so that he can get into some exchange of words and argument with the leader of the opposition. He's not going to do that. And he basically said, I think I got the words right, that Mr. Shasness is a grown man, and if he wants to engage in his antics, let him engage. He wants to tour the facility. Okay, let him tour the facility. That seemed to be what the Prime Minister was saying. I mean, we had it in our news, in our lunchtime, Jaquan. If needs be, maybe we can retrieve that particular report. Don't know if we need to ask Cecil and the news people to do it for us. It just occurred to me, maybe we can replay it. But it was in our news. I can't remember exactly what the sequence was, but it was there. I listened to it this afternoon. And the Prime Minister seemed absolutely unperturbed about it. And this is what I'm asking. If the Prime Minister is unperturbed about it, how did it come to be the subject of a hard-hitting press release from the Labour Party, condemning it, so to speak? That has been reckless, has been unauthorized, has been all those sorts of things. But the Prime Minister seemed unperturbed about it. And Albert Fregis is saying that his inquiries have led to information such that the contractor, Mr. Reno Gajada, said, it's okay, let Chastney tour the facility. Why am I bringing that up, folks? Some time ago, I think Terry and I, we didn't argue about it, but Terry was very passionate and still is about Elisha Norbert. This time I'm not getting it wrong. Elisha Norbert being an actively serving teacher in the public education system, the one that is managed by the government of St. Lucia, subject to the staff orders of the teaching service, civil service, whatever. His platform appearances, public appearances and statements as the endorsed candidate for Miku North, the United Workers' Party, that he has actually been written to by the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, pointing out to him that he is in violation of the staff orders, which calls for no serving civil servant, including teachers, to be so actively engaged in party politics, wearing party colors, making partisan statements and all this sort of thing. He said he was going to pull back. He's still going on. I think you remember some point where I told Terry, leave this alone. We've said what we had to say about it. Right now, it should be in the hands of the competent authorities, those who are authorized and empowered to deal with it. Let them deal with it. Why is it that now we're still seeing Elisha Norbert on Flambeau platform, talking his Flambeau talk, campaigning with them, doing whatever, even after he said he values his job more than the politics and his career, and he was going, and he's not doing it. And so you have to ask yourself, people like myself and Terry, is there something that we don't know and we probably need to pull back? Maybe there are people who understand the issues better. And should we be putting our heads out and, as they say, putting ourselves like Wavet Duvapool, making issues of things that maybe people in higher authority who are tasked with dealing with it, they probably know why they're not making a bigger deal of it, and leave it to them. Because basically, for that hard-hitting press release to have come from the St. Lucia Labour Party, of which Philip J. Pierre is the political leader, and then when he speaks in his capacity as Prime Minister, he doesn't seem to be perturbed by Chastney's arrival at and being granted a tour of the St. Jude facility and so on. Perhaps people like myself need to be more careful about sticking our necks out too far and about making ourselves maybe like Wavet Duvapool when there are other things that we probably have not factored into. And nothing about it, but I mean, the mere fact that the SLP put out a statement condemning it, the Prime Minister says, let him do his thing if he wants to. Albert Fridges finds out that Reno said, let him tour the facility. Maybe we need to, step back a little from certain things. Perhaps we're not reading things very well. We don't understand them very well. It's not a big deal. If the Prime Minister and Reno don't think it's a big deal, maybe it was not such a big deal. But maybe, better coordination between such as the hard-hitting press release that was issued on Saturday. The contractor, if what Albert Fridges is saying is true, I have no reason to believe it isn't, that Reno said, go ahead, let him tour. The Prime Minister saying, he ain't too bothered about that. Let him do his little tour. Perhaps we can avoid, unnecessary embarrassment, unnecessary egg on one person's face when they go out tearing into something and so on, only to find out that it's not considered to be a major priority. Let me just tell you something. Some time ago, you heard me speaking very strongly about this situation at the Ministry of Infrastructure, where a cleaner, somebody at that level, was fired for no reason other than that the permanent secretary in the ministry claimed that she was passing and greeted the cleaner, and the cleaner didn't answer. Suspended the lady, to carry out some investigation, to summon disciplinary hearing, whatever, and at the end of the day, for that, to fire the lady. And I made the point, some things are not worth the fight and the confrontation and the struggle. And who's representing her? The National Workers' Union. Most of you listening to me know why I'm making a point that it is the National Workers' Union. At this time, to get the ministry and by extension the government embroiled in some kind of industrial relations confrontation over a cleaner who allegedly didn't say or didn't answer good morning, is it worth it? This is what I'm saying. Is that what you want now? The National Workers Union is one of 2 unions that have been holding out, that have not signed the collective agreement for 2 trienniums and so on, that all other unions have signed. They and the Police Welfare Association, headed by Cameron Law, National Workers Union, whose President General, for life, I think, is Tyrone Maynard and so on. Do you really want to get into, somebody fairly high up in the Labour Party has been pushing the line that, I'm doing things that will, embarrass the government, and I'm going after PS and actually saying that they think I have a problem with the government. Shelton Daniel have a problem with the government. This government, Labour Party government, can you believe that? Apparently the individual didn't, but I don't know why the person didn't just call me and tell me that, said it to somebody else. Now, information gets distorted, when it goes through third parties and contorted and all this kind of thing. And I'm saying, this is only my concern. Are you going to get the ministry, the government, Stephenson King, whoever else is involved, the Prime Minister, Virginia Albert Poyot as the Minister of Labour, embroiled in some kind of strife over a cleaner? Fired for what? And if Shelton Daniel has a problem because he's been saying that this is not worth all of that thing, then the Labour Commissioner and the Deputy Labour Commissioner, they're problem people too. Because they have written what I consider to be very detailed, very exhaustive, very comprehensive, statements on why they think the dismissal was unfair, did not follow proper procedure, all these sort of things they said, laid it out. And even when the permanent secretary sought to rebut what the assistant or deputy Labour Commissioner came out and said, no, this is not what happened, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, this is how it went. Does Nikolai Lansiko have a problem with the government? Do we know who Nikolai Lansiko is? What has been said about him by the United Workers' Party, etc., etc.? So sometimes, maybe it's a lesson I'm learning a bit late. We have sometimes to take a little step back and watch things and see how the wind is blowing. You understand? Take a little time to look around and to see exactly, to have some more situational awareness, because perhaps there are things that we don't understand. Real Issues, powered by Blue Waters. We take our first break, and when we come back, the lines will be open for your calls, and I'll also be reading your messages.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The St. Lucia Labour Party's Town Hall Tuesdays continue, this time at Palm Valley Glory Fair, Dennery North, on Tuesday, July 8th from 7 p.m. This will be yet another powerful edition of Town Hall Tuesday with Parliamentary Representative Honorable Sean Edward. He will be joined by political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Get updates on national progress. Hear what's happening in your constituency. Share your concerns and be part of the conversation shaping our future. Dennery North, we're coming to you. It's Sean again. See you on Tuesday, July 8th at Palm Valley from 7 p.m.
What is the vision for the Vendors Arcade? To provide a world-class shopping environment where local goods and services can be provided and experienced by locals and visitors. Why is this redevelopment necessary? The renovations and expansions will revitalize the infrastructure and enhance the shopping experience for vendors, locals, and visitors. Who will be responsible for the Vendors Arcade? The arcade will continue to be operated and managed by the Castries Constituency Council, who will have full responsibility for the rental and maintenance of the space. How construction of the Vendors Arcade be managed? A phased approach will be employed to minimize disruption to daily operations. After the completion of each phase, vendors will be relocated from the former arcade, and this will continue until completion of the new facility. St. Lucia Cruise Port, investing in people.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man, the voice.
Issues here on Real FM 91.3 North, 91.5 South. We are also on YouTube and Facebook Live, as well as simulcasting on MBC Television, Channel 120 on the Flow Cable TV service. I'm opening the telephone lines now for your calls. I'll also be reading your messages. Yes, I'll actually be reading them today. You can reach us on 758-487-9849. You can WhatsApp call us on this number. And you can also reach us on the landline, the local landline, 4533-911. You can send text messages that will get live on air in real time by clicking on the messaging link that you will find on two websites. One, realfmofficial.com. There's a WhatsApp messaging link there. You can type the text messages and we'll get them. We'll see them coming up on the screen straight away. And you can also do the same on mbcslu.com. So mbcslu.com and realfmofficial.com. In addition to the messaging links there, text messaging links, you will also see links for listening to the radio and watching the TV online. So there's a Watch MBC and a Listen to Real FM buttons that you can find on the website. No excuses, no limitations. Make the most and the best of it. 758-487-9849 and 4533-911. The first one for WhatsApp calling, the other one you can get us on the landline, local landline number. I think we're getting our first call. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, just hold on a call.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, okay, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, Shelton, I had stayed away from commenting that Shasty thing. Although I heard
Are you there?
so put that up for him. Put that up for him.
Is somebody attacking you? Do you need me to come and defend you?
No. So then, what I realize now is that, you know, the Labour Party now has to start to pull up the socks and start to realize that a lot of things that has been happening is that because they are too lenient on the UWPs and the way things is happening there right now. We are in an election year. Things is not happening well for the UWP on the ground as I looked at it. And they are now looking for ways and means after what I saw, his behavior with the Prime Minister in the House. I was trying to make the Prime Minister lose his cool and try to get the Prime Minister to be like Julian Hunt in Grosile when he said, I would break glass in your ass and things like that. And I think this is what I see. I saw he was trying to get the Prime Minister to commit himself on this kind of issues. But I'm saying this. We need to be a little bit more, direct, and we have to take this thing more serious. And we have to understand we are in an election year or a year before election. Or I believe that we are taking this as if, well, as face value, as if we are very confident, or we are not taking anything serious again, as if, I don't know. But you see, this thing started with that Terry and Shakes going up to Miami. This thing started there. That is where it started. And this thing that was accepted by the Labour Party full-heartedly as if, well, boy, is a man ministry. Anybody can have a ministry in government, but the whole thing falls on the Prime Minister. Anything that happens in the country, the Prime Minister will get blamed for it. And right now we now have to start to say, I heard the Prime Minister said, I will not go in anybody's ministry and tell them what to do. He does not want to micromanage, which I agree. But he is the CEO and he is the Prime Minister and he is the leader of the country. And this kind of nonsense, if I tell you what happened the last board meeting, I was on a board meeting, and I saw Mr. Antonio Richard was brought in there. The first board meeting he was not there, and they say he representing the National Taxi Union and all kinds of things like this. These are the people, Shelton, these are the people that girl there from Beaufort, that he wants to, one of our fighting to be the candidate in Beaufort. Trisha McDonald or something like that.
Trisha Lionel, that's what you're talking
about?
Yes.
This was the man that wanted to spit in her face in Beaufort, in Swazelle, These are the people that have tormented Sean, have done all kinds of things to Sean in the valley. So you mean to tell me that same Terry you see there right now that is talking and wants, I'll take you to court for talking against the Ministry of Tourism. You believe, Shelton, in your humble opinion, if it was UWP that day, I would never be on a plane going to Miami with Guy Joseph and Shasta. Never. So we take that as face value. We agreed with it as if, well, it's okay. Because we are at the front, we cannot get at the back. No, Shelton, no. The UWP have to understand now it is the time that our supporters must come first. Our supporters must be looked into, and make sure that they are happy. Our base must now be greased and oiled, and make sure our base is solid, that when the bell rings that we have a base we could run on. And this is what happened to Trump. Trump, whatever he does, he have a base. Now, Labour Party always plays with the base. They always played with the base. And knowing full well, Shelton, that our supporters are very flimsy. Anytime they hear something, my voter go. See, we vote, and the UWP is playing on their mind with this kind of nonsense. And the Labour Party now, knowing that fully, we have made mistakes. The last election, they won the 11-6. We should have never lost that election. We but a human sport that elections are. C'est même bêtise là qu'on dit nous ha gagné pas quoi c'est pour ça qui te fait marcher. Non. Jean c'est misi pas qu'on ha corporate. Dernier jour ou ka do gagné bio. Because you got to name même qu'on am let. They turn like like milk. You know how they are en velette là. They may tourner. Qu'on ha dans yo café. So I want the Labour Party now to start to take this thing more seriously. What Shafne did there, I don't care what Reno says or what that one says, it was wrong. It was wrong. It was the same Shafne when Philip JP asked him to go and see what is going. He said no. So what makes Shafne so superior over us? Why? Why are we taking everything as is a joke for us? Why? Why, Sheldon? Thank you.
Yeah, well, you know, Nobi, I think we have to do our best to make sure that the wires don't get crossed, To be honest with you. Now, I mean, Albert Fregis is one of us. For him to be saying that he found out that Reno said it's okay, the SLP to be saying that he should not have been there. I'm just saying these different kinds of messaging and communication that contradict each other. I think we have to try our best to avoid that happening. Do you agree with me? All right, okay. I thought he was still on the line. Okay. 758-487-9849. You can WhatsApp call us on that number, and you can use the local line 4533911. I have some messages. But before I do, let me remind you that today is Town Hall Tuesday, and they've all been massive. I have a feeling this one is going to be super massive in the Dennery Valley. Town Hall Tuesday, forward together for more progress. It's July 2025 at 7 p.m. at Palm Valley in Grand Riviere, Dennery, live on Liberty TV and Flow Channel 119. Well, Liberty TV is Flow Channel 119. Honorable Sean Edward, MP for Dennery North. It's also on YouTube and Facebook live streaming. And Honorable Philip J. Pierre on that flyer. Town Hall Tuesday of the St. Lucia Labour Party, 7 o'clock tonight in Grand Riviere. Dennery. Hello.
Yes, and how do you do, sir?
I'm doing okay. Hey, how are you?
I'm not well.
What's the matter?
Look.
Tell the doctor.
Doc.
For must have in some deal.
What will I ask for them?
Okay, what's on your mind today?
Look, I personally believe people have to be treated with respect. Now, respect is not something you buy. It's not something you select. It's not something you reject. If you give it, you will get it. I have been a Labour supporter longer than most of our ministers that are in government right now. When you stand in front of Compton at the age of 16 in Tiroshe Mikud and give him the attitude, when you cannot vote for crap that he took, and you were covered like a bait that bumblebees enjoyed, you know for a fact you have to be strong to survive that. My first vote was for Raymond Flood. My second vote was for Henry Mackey. My third vote was for Vinicius James. My fourth vote was for Cassie Lyons. So, Sheldon, you know where I have been all my life.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I do not want these people to believe I'm stupid. I want one thing to tell our leaders and our ministers, I'm fed up. And if you all have to continue down that road, I better just join Alan. Because you all, what you all cannot get, why are you all giving it? As opposition members, you all ask to visit the box. You all was not given any right. Why is Reno allowing that man to come there and bring his bolom? The bolom they're talking about. The bolom is in their pockets. Alan went to bring his bolom at Central to prevent it from opening. I better join Alan. I'm fed up with this government. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much. I think, I don't know, it seems a little bit excessive for whatever the situation is and so on. All I'm saying is, try to make sure that we stay on message in a coherent kind of way. So maybe, you have to check with different people, to make sure that, one is not embarrassing themselves or embarrassing the other in terms of making a big deal of something that others don't think is a big deal, or vice versa, taking something too light that should be taken more seriously. That's all I was making the point about. Anyway, we have another call on the line. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, Sheldon.
Yeah.
I want to inform you that, Spider, Cocorum, Guy, and Chestnut, I'm repeating it to you all again. They're not welcome in the valley. Thank you.
I didn't hear you very well. You want to say that Guy, Spider, Cocorum, and whatever, they're not going to what?
They are not welcome in the valley.
In the valley?
Yes.
Okay, well, certainly not tonight, and they wouldn't be welcome there. Not if Town Hall Tuesday, right? Hello, he's gone already? All right, okay. All right, he just wanted to make his point, and let me say good afternoon to Mistress Marilyn Kanai Girard, as well as Mr. Victor Girard. Hope you all are hanging in there and doing okay. I must make some time and opportunity to come here, visit one of these days. Can't promise you when, but it's nice to know that you're always listening, always following the real issues. Mr. Girard, I know you're a little bit under these days, but I'm confident that you'll be back on your feet again, all right? You're a strong and determined man, have always been. We have another call on the line, do we? You're on the air, Real Issues. Go ahead. Yeah, hi.
Hi, Shelton, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
All right. Shelton, let me just say my 2 cents.
Yeah, why am I hearing you so low? I'm hearing you a little low. Yeah.
Hello, you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me just say my 2 cents in terms of this Alan Chastney's visit to the St. Jude Hospital premises. Shelton, listen. Whether you're Alan Chastney, whether you're Joe Blow, if there is a protocol, a process to be followed in terms of anybody, any individual, or any group who wishes to visit the site, then come what may, be you who you are, the process must be followed. Now, if Reno Kajada, as the contractor, has the authority to grant permission to individuals or groups who wish to visit the site, then so be it. But if Reno Kajada is not the authority, even though he's the contractor, then nobody ought to be approaching Reno Kajada, especially if people who know better do that, to ask him for permission. And if Reno Kajada knows that he's not the authority to give permission to visit the site, then he ought not to give permission. So all I'm saying is, if there is a protocol, if there is a process that must be followed in terms of granting permission, then that process must be followed. Be you Alan Chastney, be you Andrew Antoine, be you ordinary Joe Blow, whoever you are, that process must be followed.
Let me ask you this, Andrew. What do you make of the Prime Minister seeming to, don't even, I'm not even bothered about that,
Look,
he wants
Shelton,
to,
I am not going to
let him
speculate.
talk. I mean, at the end of the day, the Prime Minister is the boss,
Look, Shelton, I am not going to speculate. I don't want to speculate. I don't care whether he is the boss. If there is a process that has been laid down for everybody to follow, whether you're the Prime Minister or Alan Chastney or ordinary Joe Blow, if there is a process that has been laid down that must be followed, that everybody needs to adhere to, then I don't care who you are. It must be adhered to. That is all I'm saying.
Okay,
Thank you, Shelton.
Okay, Andrew, let me let you go. All right. 758-487-9849. There's a text message. Is there a call on the line? No. There's a caller. Wow. Oh, how come I don't have when the calls come anymore? You got a silence system. You put the silence on it. Real issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Shelton Daniel.
Good afternoon, animator.
How do you do?
I'm doing okay, and you?
Malaran.
Malarusi.
Wonderful. Timadusa, Shelton. I am conflicted with the response by the Prime Minister as it pertains to that trespassing atrocity on Saturday. However, I want to understand that he responded in his capacity as Prime Minister, knowing that there's a process and there are people tasked with the responsibility to deal with these things so that it does not get to him. I appreciate the statement from the Labour Party. I appreciate that. I also want to understand or wrap my mind around the fact that if Reno Gajada is the one who gives permission and he has allowed the leader of the opposition to tour the facility, considering that he was already there, I want to understand that. But please don't tell me the leader of the opposition does not know the process. because the St. Lucia Labour Party followed the process when it was their turn. They sought permission from the Minister for Economic Development or Economic Affairs or every money affairs, whatever he was in that time. And they denied them access to St. Jude Hospital. Why then does Alan Shatney feel that he can dress in a UWP shirt and barge his way onto the property, onto the site, for there to be no outcry? And yes, it might very well be strategic for us to be discussing him now and not discussing the policies recently implemented by the government. But we cannot be discussing crime and not discuss. That is a level of criminality. It tells you what this man is willing to do to get to power. How do we know that he has not sabotaged the progress of the hospital? Because they don't want St. Jude completed under this party. And we know that they make no issue, they don't hide that. But
let me ask you something, Animator.
Yes.
I just want to see whether what I said is making sense. The SLP issued a press release the same Saturday that Mr. Shastri...
With lightning rapidity.
Right. Now, I'm just saying, whoever scripted the message for the Labour Party, do you believe there is a possibility that they could end up being embarrassed if it turns out that Reno said, okay, let him on, and that the Prime Minister is now saying, no big deal? That maybe if there had been a closer coordination of this one checking with that one to make sure that you don't go out putting a fire and brimstone statement, only to find out that your political leader has no problem with it, or he says, you know, let's not make a big deal of that. And if it is true that Reno was the one who said, let him have the tour and so on, that there needs to be a tighter coordination of things like that. Do you understand the point I was trying to make? Or
I understand the point you're making, Shelton. And okay. I do feel the same way.
Okay.
There is some measure of disconnect regarding communication. Okay? So we must always be on the same page. I also support the point that Nobby is making, that we are in an election period, whether election is next year, July, or this year, July. We don't care. We are in an election period, and we need to ensure
we have another caller waiting here, so let's wrap it up.
No problem.
All right?
Yes,
Thank you
will
very
wrap
much.
up. You prevented me from going to my
okay,
other
I'm
very
told that the other caller left, so I don't know.
I'll always make it tomorrow. Okay. So you know what? Let me just pause here and allow the other caller.
Right,
Look,
okay.
I can.
Yeah. Hi, caller. Good afternoon. Real issues. Yeah, are you there, caller?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
You know, I look at that in another way. Maybe Reno know there's nothing to hide. So if you give him permission, which I think should not, but Reno knows that there's nothing to hide. Maybe if you give him permission, they would talk more to say that they know they have something to hide, so they need permission. So I hope he pleads with what he see. I think he went there to come out and say, well, they're not going to finish us. Because I hope the Prime Minister knows that that is the main goal of the UW for them, not to finish that hospital. I hope Mr. Pierre knows that by now very well.
I'm sure he knows it better than you, myself, or anybody else.
Oh, yes. He knows that UWP does not want the hospital to finish, right? So he will try his best. Now, Mr. Shafner is a desperate man. Eh? You know, desperate. I used to call him the ruler, and I still call him the ruler. Now, what I notice will happen if St. Lucia ever vote UWP in power, what they will have is a cabinet of slave house slaves. Because I was looking at Mr. that gentleman there, the February, I was looking at him as an intelligent man. I thought he was coming to challenge Mr. Shaftney for the leadership, because we need another leader. UW can never win an election with Shaftney. So I thought Mr. February was coming to challenge Shaftney for the leadership of the party. But he has joined the clowns, you know. He has joined the House Slaves. So I don't think the people of St. Lucia will elect a government of House Slaves into power. Because all what I'm seeing there is House Slaves. I'm looking at Mr. February. He has joined the House Slaves on them. So I don't think St. Lucian will ever vote a party of House Slaves, because Mr. Shaftney is a ruler, and that's what he is, not a leader. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I agree with you, Mr. Felician. I think they were talking about Mr. Lucien Joseph Nobi. Terry should have never been given that opportunity, and I think he's talking about the opportunity for traveling as part of a delegation with the Minister of Tourism or Ministry of Tourism going to some event, some big annual event in Miami. Is it the Sea Trade or whatever? I can't really remember. Shelton, there's no such thing as the contractor in charge until he hands over to the government. The contractor has a contract from the government of St. Lucia that doesn't give the contractor the right to side pass. I think they meant to bypass the government and bring in any and every individual to tour the site. I don't think it was any and everybody. This is former Prime Minister, leader of the opposition, to tour the site, especially Shaftney, who knows what Shaftney is plotting. The man is very dangerous. Alan Shaftney should not be given any rights to anything pertaining to the government of St. Lucia. Well, this person is a hardliner. All right, okay, thank you very much for that. Who was it who said, exactly my point, there's nothing to hide, let him visit. That's another message that I got. Let me see some of the messages that I got. I'm conflicted about my reaction to Shaftney going on St. Jude, but I'm inclined to understand. Let Shaftney hang himself if he will. Another person says, my problem is allowing him despite not having officially gone through the proper channels. It only feeds his narcissism and sense of entitlement. One person says, Reno should have done better than that and asked him to put it in writing. Don't just show up on site and demand to take a tour. This is nonsense. Another person says, so shouldn't someone try to reach Reno for clarification? Well, I don't know. Maybe the person who scripted, who penned the SLP press release on Saturday, if they didn't do it, I have no way of knowing that they didn't do it, but maybe they should have. Contacted Reno and said, Reno, Shaftney being there, can you tell us what you know about it, if you know anything? And perhaps this would have conditioned and influenced and the press release, how it was written, what was included in it, what were the charges and allegations that were made there, whether they would have been modified or I don't know. The problem about Reno being checked, I'm saying if anybody needed to check, it was at the point of that SLP press release being scripted and so on. Because if it is true that Reno said, okay, let him tour, whoever penned the SLP press release could say that whatever. I think you get my point. No need for me to belabor it. Let's look at the Facebook Live to see what our people there are saying. Oops, seems like I lost it. But it's already time for us to go for our final commercial break for Real Issues, powered by Blue Waters. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be taking more of your calls and reading some of your messages, especially on the Facebook Live.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The St. Lucia Labour Party's Town Hall Tuesdays continue, this time at Palm Valley Glory Fair, Dennery North, on Tuesday, July 8th from 7 p.m. This will be yet another powerful edition of Town Hall Tuesday with Parliamentary Representative Honorable Sean Edward. He will be joined by political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Get updates on national progress. Hear what's happening in your constituency. Share your concerns and be part of the conversation shaping our future. Dennery North, we're coming to you. It's Sean again. See you on Tuesday, July 8th at Palm Valley from 7 p.m.
What is the vision for the Vendors Arcade? To provide a world-class shopping environment where local goods and services can be provided and experienced by locals and visitors. Why is this redevelopment necessary? The renovations and expansions will revitalize the infrastructure and enhance the shopping experience for vendors, locals, and visitors. Who will be responsible for the Vendors Arcade? The arcade will continue to be operated and managed by the Castries Constituency Council, who will have full responsibility for the rental and maintenance of the space. How will construction of the Vendors Arcade be managed? A phased approach will be employed to minimize disruption to daily operations. After the completion of each phase, vendors will be relocated from the former arcade, and this will continue until completion of the new facility. St. Lucia Cruise Port, investing in people.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
On this Tuesday, it is the 8th of July 2025. We have someone on the line waiting. You're on the air. Good afternoon.
Sheldon.
Hey,
nous la sekalan. Nous la sekalan à Saint-Lucie. Massa poussi Alan Paka aller Canada, il a appelé et ponkini. Moi ka doucou Alan, jamais gagné politique sur Saint-Lucie. N'a pas chien, moi chat, moi, n'a pas tout ça, moi, qui ich, moi, goish, moi, n'a pas côté l'autre pays, because c'est misère, moi, même pas, quand était, ouais, misère, en balan encore. Alan, trop misère, ouais. Vous tenez, excès, mon n'a qui a suivi, appelé misère, ouais, passé. Là, il n'y a pas la bonne bonne, mais quand j'ai appelé, c'est pas qu'à tant de manière, c'est lycée, car oui, c'est lycée, pas, ouais, c'est milk and honey, nous, ni en bas, Philippe J.Pierre, mais quand était, ouais, misère, en balan encore. Depuis moi, t'en Alan gagné, n'a pas tout ça, moi, n'a quitté cette lycée.
All right. Merci, Bill. All right, you could be very intelligent. Once you joined Chasney, all your intelligence disappeared. That is from Sylvester Alphonse. Maureen Henry says the PM is smarter than him. We have another call on the line. Hi, good afternoon. Real Issues. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whether it's Reno or no Reno that give that permission, that should never happen. Because we don't know the situation of Alan. One thing Alan have in his mind to see that never open. That hospital never open. And I vex about Labour giving that passive way they take about the situation. That's nonsense. That should never happen at all. Reno or no Reno. Whether he had the permission to do that, since he know the aim Alan Chastney have, he should never let him go there. I'm mad. That's all I have to say then.
All right, thank you very much. I'm wondering now whether Alan Chastney will not feel entitled to go for another visit with, with a whole set of people. It looks like he went alone this time. That he might go with a whole latilier, behind him and so on. And
Shelton.
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Can you recall when the leader of the opposition said that if certain things doesn't go his way, there is war?
Yeah, I remember that.
And the other saying that if you go to the fort, shoot them.
Yeah,
Others say, "Bury you."
Like chaos in the country,
Yeah. And then guns coming in through customs. If someone threatens you and you see things are happening supporting that threat, shouldn't you step up your guard?
Of course, yes.
So if the man said that and in the customs, guns, ammunition, shootings to make the incumbents look bad, all that's part and parcel of a whole wider picture of the realization of a threat. Yes, sir. Watch yourself.
All right, you gone? All right, looks like it's gone already. 487-9849, that's the mobile number on which you can WhatsApp call us, 758-487-9849, and you can also use the local landline, 4533-911. Good afternoon, Cecilia Ale and Gregory Etienne, as well as Lucy Manuel on the Facebook Live. And Selma Amab says, it's Cecilia Allen who says, Allen would have never gone to the St. Jude site if he had not seen the live with the PM the day before. All right, we're taking your calls. Don't forget we're going until 2 o'clock. Let's see what other comments that we have on the live that we can. Someone says, why don't they kick this guy? He's wasting the people's time. Not sure exactly who's referring to. We don't want anybody kicking anybody. Gregory Etienne notes that he was not wearing a helmet. Cecilia Allen says, plenty SLP supporters voted Allen in 2016 and regretted afterwards. I wonder whether there are any who regret voting for Trump twice, if it's the same people or other people. This is another weird one. Americans have voted in large numbers for a man who is a convicted felon, in effect, a man who has so many convictions against him that you can just say that this is a criminal, and they voted for him. We have to be very careful and understand we've been surprised twice before. We can be surprised a third time if we don't do what we're supposed to do. You're on the air, caller. Go ahead. Hello.
Yeah, let me just bring down my TV thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is that NBC?
Yes, it is. That's the real issues with Shelton Daniel.
Okay. What I want to say, Shelton, was not Alan the one that said that Reno's daughter is a non-entity?
Yes, he did.
So Reno should not allow Alan to visit the site because that's the same man that said his daughter was a non-entity when she bought the land.
Are you there?
Yes, that's the same man that debunked your daughter. So he should be aware of Alan have no good intention in his mind. So from the time he see Alan, he should not allow that because that's the same man that debunked your daughter, say your daughter is a non-entity.
Okay, my friend, I guess different considerations. Rennie considering something pertaining to St. Jude Hospital is different from Rennie considering what Chastney said regarding his daughter.
That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much. Alan wants to create political theater. He wants to be arrested. He wants to make himself a martyr to claim his rights are being abused by this administration. Let's not give him that satisfaction. I hear you. I've heard others say that. What you're concerned about is people who maybe have some history, who maybe have some practice, who maybe have some ability in sabotage, or even just to come and to scope out the place on a weekend when they know the presence isn't going to be as great or as high. And perhaps, that they've marked out their targets already. You never know, marked out their targets. Next time they're going to come with 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, And then when they come, the targets that are already marked out, they'll know exactly what to do, where to target, what to do there, and so on. You can't take chances with people, especially when you've seen all the signs of political desperation. If Shas was the PM and PJP did that, we know what would happen. All right. Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for remembering us. You are welcome anytime, any day you can make it. And that's Marilyn Kanai Girard sending me a message on our Facebook Live, the wife of Mr. Victor Girard, distinguished former civil servant holding the post of Cabinet Secretary, PS for Home Affairs, Controller of Customs, and, a very fearless man in terms of expressing himself. He wouldn't have done that if he was still serving, I can tell you. Very professional. The things he will say now, he wouldn't have said it when he was PS. He would have respected his office as Cabinet Secretary and do nothing to give the appearance of being biased, or partial or partisan or anything when he was in the public service. He retired. He's not obligated. He will speak his mind on politics and on things of that kind. Very professional man, Mr. Victor Girard. The government's PR should have checked with Reno first before issuing that press release. I tend to lean on the side of that point of view, but I don't really know what went on. All right, let's see. We have other comments there. By the way, we're still taking your calls. I know many of you are also following the Senate. Don't know where they're at now in terms of taking the break for lunch, but the numbers are there. 758-487-9849 and also 4533-911. Sean Cherubin says that was supposed to be something discussed with the government and the contractor, that no one except for personnel from the loan agency government officials should be given access to the site. All right. Let me say this. Based on what Shelton said, my PM has wisdom, and he used his wisdom as Solomon. You're on the air, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I called earlier on, and I hung up a little bit too early. Did you have to say anything to comment to me?
Does that?
Did you have to say anything to me? I hung it up a little earlier on.
No,
and
that's
you,
okay. Go ahead. I mean,
it was about the opposition making threats about war, and now weapons are coming in and there's things. Did you have to make any statement about that?
I can't remember if I did. I'm sorry, but if you were
It was
not
just
finished,
a while ago.
No, it's all right. If you have anything further to say, you can go ahead. But
Yeah, well, can you comment on the threats and then the realization of the threats through different links of importation?
Well, it is
and
precisely because of these threats that
I'll listen to you
I'll be
there.
extremely wary and apprehensive about the opposition entering the St. Jude Hospital site and going on tour. I would think they would need to be very closely monitored. They would need to be very closely watched, to see what it is, what areas they're going into, and what do they want to do. You have to be very careful. You must not put anything past people such as what we have seen, Alan Shastney and the UWP, that he has completely reshaped and changed. Like I was saying, this is not the UWP of John Compton. This is not a UWP that is development-minded, St. Lucia focused and wanting to develop the people of St. Lucia. This is a UWP that has people who want power, and they want power for purposes that we know, so that they can accomplish certain things on behalf of themselves, their friends, their family, foreigners. That is what they seem to be about. So we need to be very careful when you have projects that they feel will condemn them to opposition, so they do not want these things to get off the ground. Don't take any chances with them. That has been my message always. We take too many chances. Terry Alex says it looks like the SLP is just sitting back and letting the talk show hosts do battle for them. For example, Yadi, Jaim, Shelton, Terry, and the diehard supporters. Carry on SLP and don't mind your business. I don't know if I would have put it that way, but I just want to say that talk show hosts who are out there doing battle, be very careful that you don't take a position that does not square with what you are promoting and what you are pushing and so on. That's what I'm saying, because you don't want to go on to say something thinking that you are representing the thinking, thinking that you are representing the thinking, and then, you kind of have it wrong. You're a bit off target on that one, because you don't want contradictions, etc. Alan Shastney is a wicked boy. No, he's a grown man. He may be wicked, but he's certainly not a boy. Jerry Francis says the best thing is to just not give Shas the attention he was looking for with that publicity stunt. If it was only a publicity stunt, something tells me it's a lot more than that. Clara Shalbury says, yes, Caller Shas is testing the Prime Minister's patience. Don't forget they said by means, or by, I think he meant by any means, they will win the election. Cecil Peter believes this present administration is way too kind to Allen. And Sonia Edwards says, because he's a disrespectful man and he wants to be PM again. We have another caller. We have another call on the, do we? To me, I heard the line, I heard the call ring. All right, okay. Person just called and hung up straight away. Sylvester Alphonse says, remember Reno said he has gotten more work on the UWP than SLP. Well, what are you insinuating there, Sylvester? What are you hinting? All right. There's another message there, but I don't quite understand it. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so where are we now? Still on to take your calls. Trying to see if I can get the comments in a different scroll so I can read them, but it's proving a bit difficult for me today. All right, so we have a little video clip that I was wondering when we would get a chance to play it, Jaquan. So maybe we can play it right now, okay? Wow. So that means we won't be able to have it at all? My goodness. Tell you what, let's take a break. Let's take a break and let's see if we can work that out, okay? Please.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The St. Lucia Labour Party's Town Hall Tuesdays continue, this time at Palm Valley Glory Fair, Dennery North, on Tuesday, July 8th from 7 p.m. This will be yet another powerful edition of Town Hall Tuesday with Parliamentary Representative Honorable Sean Edward. He will be joined by political leader and Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Get updates on national progress. Hear what's happening in your constituency. Share your concerns and be part of the conversation shaping our future. Dennery North, we're coming to you. It's Sean again. See you on Tuesday, July 8th at Palm Valley from 7 p.m.
What is the vision for the Vendors Arcade? To provide a world-class shopping environment where local goods and services can be provided and experienced by locals and visitors. Why is this redevelopment necessary? The renovations and expansions will revitalize the infrastructure and enhance the shopping experience for vendors, locals, and visitors. Who will be responsible for the Vendors Arcade? The arcade will continue to be operated and managed by the Castries Constituency Council, who will have full responsibility for the rental and maintenance of the space. How will construction of the Vendors Arcade be managed? A phased approach will be employed to minimize disruption to daily operations. After the completion of each phase, vendors will be relocated from the former arcade, and this will continue until completion of the new facility. St. Lucia Cruise Port, investing in people.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar, Labrie Highway. Cool Joint Bar, Victoria Schwazel. Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop, opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice, the voice, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts. The man, the voice.
Another hurricane season is upon us. Make this year different. Equip yourself with a backup power generator from JH Launchers Electric. We can source and supply any size, anytime to your specifications. But the best part is we stock generators. No more long waiting and delays for your home unit. We proudly stock from 2,000 watts all the way to 26,000 watts gas and diesel generators. Automatic and manual transfer switches are also in stock. Visit JH Launchers Electrics today.
The man, the voice, the voice, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man, the voice.
On less than 10 minutes to the end of today's program. I'm sorry there was a video clip I wanted to play. I thought that by taking this unscheduled break, we could have gotten it downloaded and ready, but not possible at all. So we'll have to leave that alone. Don't forget 7 o'clock tonight at Palm Valley in Grand Riviere, Dennery. There will be the St. Lucia Labour Party's Town Hall Tuesday for Dennery North. And of course, you can expect among the main people who will be featured will be the MP for Dennery North since 2011, Honorable Sean Edward, and Prime Minister and political leader of the governing St. Lucia Labour Party, Honorable Philip Joseph Pierre. Where will she go when Shas is hell-bent on stopping all our visa access? I think that's a response to the lady who said that if Shasney ever wins again, she's packing up, taking her children everywhere, going to some other country. Another person says, tell, though I'm not too sure, it says, tell Thought Reno, check his name and stop saying yes to these people or anyone who wants to come in there without the PM's consent. Okay, we're still a little hazy about it and so on. But like I'm saying, the Prime Minister seemed to be unbothered about Alan Chasney going to the, to the St. Jude Hospital site. And my only thing is that the Prime Minister waving this off and, making short shrift of it. And, it's like, I don't bother with that kind of thing. That's just a distraction. And the Labour Party issuing the strong press release that it did on Saturday, they don't seem to be on all fours with each other. And that's what I was saying. How does a talk show host like myself come and take a position on it? Where on the one hand, it's fire and brimstone. On the other hand, it's, don't worry, this foolishness, poo-pooing that and so on. You want to make sure that not just with the words that are on the page, but with the mood and the spirit and the temperament or the temper that it conveys, that they basically complement each other in a manner that you can say, okay, this is the Labour Party's position and it is reflected by the government. I think you get my gist, my drift and my vibe on that one. All right, let's see if we can get... all right, let me see if I can get some more comments from the Facebook Live. I often don't do justice to them. It takes a little while for them to show up. I don't know why I had the little scrolling of them that I could have shown, but I'm really not seeing that for the time being. Okay. All right. All right, I intend to be down in Grand Riviere for the Town Hall Tuesday to make my presence felt there as well. All right, I'm trying to get to the real issues, but it doesn't look like what I want. I get it, not too sure why. Maybe I'll need to up my IT game and so on, because it looks like when you have the little technical issues that are bugging you, then you also need to. 487-9849. That's where we can take the WhatsApp calls. 758-487-9849. And you can also reach us on 4533-911. All right, the clock is ticking away from us, so we may, like I said, I understand that the Senate is on and we have a lot of people who are following it. Many of our people will be following the Senate. And I did have some material that I wanted to go with, but it doesn't look like it is going to. Can you put up the Town Hall Tuesday flyer on the screen as well, Jaquan? Or it's also one of those things that you are challenged with right now?
That matter to you, from national security to health, education, and economic growth. It's all in the briefing room.
All right.
Join the Prime Minister's press secretary, Melissa Paul, in the briefing room
Okay.
every Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on Allen Television System. In the briefing room, the source.
All right. Okay. So looks like we're gonna have to leave it at that for today. Thank you very much, Jaquan, for your efforts. I understand that it doesn't always work out the way we want it to, so we'll just have to consider that this one is something. Let me just say to the people in the Real Issues WhatsApp chat group, I know that some of you have expressed some alarm at this joint call that is showing up all the time. I think two people in the group, Sabina and Kurt, I won't say their full names, have explained to us that once you are following the Real Issues and you scroll down, maybe to get to the most recent, to the last message, that when you hold your finger on the screen on that message and you swipe up, it tells you something like, so I've just done it there. It's saying join call, so keep holding while you talk. So you actually put in a chat invite, a voice chat invite. Look, I've just done it. So it's nothing sinister. A lot of people might do it and they don't even realize that they have done it. And so it stays on the screen. It's no virus, it's no spy, it's no anyone being inside there, infiltrate or anything. Now, I can take it out. Nobody else can take it out for me. So I'm going to hit the little red X and look, it's gone. I'm sure it's gone. So if you have put one there accidentally, you just have to press the little red X on the screen and it is going to disappear. It's no spyware or no infiltrator or spammer or anything like that that is inside there. The other thing too, insofar as people forwarding messages from the group to others, is not something we can prevent. Sometimes people don't do it for any sinister motive. They want to show somebody something, and then once you hit the forward button, you have no control over where it goes to, who it goes to, and what they do with it. People will always have their friends. And of course, yes, there will be people who have ulterior and not so healthy motives behind them in what they do, but let's not cause ourselves to be overly spooked and you know, really riled up by it. It's the way of modern electronic communications and so on. The forward button is the easiest thing to press. Thank you very much, Jaquan, for your efforts. I know that sometimes on some days it can be challenging, but I appreciate your trying just the same. Thank you very much, everyone, on what is always a busy time of day where talk shows are concerned, and with the added, well, it's not a diversion, but with the added serving of the Parliament also being in session, we understand what it is, all right? Terry Fenelon, once again, I hope that you feel better soon and that you'll be with us again as the health and the disposition permits and the other maybe inconveniences. Until then, Shelton Daniel for the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters, signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
numbers for the midday draw of Tuesday, 8th July 2025 were Double Daily Grand 8, 11, 13, 17. Big 4 0, 3, 1, 7. Big 4 Multi-X 2X. Pick 2 9, 7. Pick 2 Multi-X 3X. 1 off 4, 2, 3. Lucky 3 0, 3, 1. Lucky 3 Multi-X 2X.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.